Welcome to session 9 of the Maximum Happiness course, Perceptions and Thoughts. This is a session I'm particularly excited to present as it contains a powerful and transformative thought process. During the years of my research into the science of happiness, I came across different variants of the process. I was so impressed with the principle that I created one for myself that I called the perception cycle. When I applied the process to my life, my thoughts and my circumstances, I experienced so many positive outcomes that I quickly learned that this was no coincidence. Down the years, the process has become part of my natural and instinctive thinking process and has helped me through traumatic times and to overcome more challenges and obstacles than I've been able to count. I'm delighted to be able to share the perception cycle with you today. I hope it brings you as much positivity and happiness as you would want. I'd like to start this session with an exercise in imagination. Please close your eyes and come with me on a journey. With your eyes closed, imagine, if you would, that you are running or walking fast up a steep mountain path. The sun is scorching overhead, and although you are perspiring, the inside of your mouth feels dry like sandpaper. You wish you'd remembered to bring some water to quench your thirst. Too late now though. You're an hour away from base camp and another hour from the hotel further up the mountain. The seconds feel like hours as you struggle up the mountainside. That sun, that searing heat, your lips feel like they're glued together. You feel so parched. What would you pay for a bottle of ice cold water now? Imagine the scene an hour later as you almost run into the hotel. Can you believe it? All the bars and the cafeterias are all closed. Ah well, there's always the mini bar in the room, you think. There must be a drink in there. The lift is broken, so you take the stairs in threes, almost demolishing the door to your room. You dash to the minibar, now anxiously anticipating how wonderful that ice cold drink will feel inside your mouth. Oh no, nothing in the fridge but a lemon. You examine it in the palm of your hand. You close your eyes and you can smell its zesty, clean, crisp fragrance. Doesn't it have a pretty lemon yellow colour? You can feel the texture of the lemon lightly with the pads of your fingers. Doesn't it feel lumpy? Now squeeze it and feel the consistency of the lemon. Smell it again. Hold it up to your nose and take a deep breath. Imagine you can hear yourself say, "Isn't that a pretty lemon? Doesn't it smell fantastic?" Now I'd like you, in your mind, to take a knife from the drawer and cut a slice from the lemon. Take the slice and squeeze it until the juice is dripping down your fingers. Can you feel it? Good. It's easier to smell the free-flowing juice now. Now take that slice and place it in your mouth. Just in your mouth, not on your tongue. Doesn't it smell fresh? Okay, do you feel the juices dripping onto your tongue? Great. Now put the lemon slice on your tongue. Ooh, can you taste that tangy lemon zest of the juice? Great. Now back to reality. What's actually happening in your mouth? Well, if you're like a good percentage of the people who hear this story, your mouth is salivating or drying up. Either way, you're having a reaction to the sight, sound, smell, taste and feel of the lemon. A lemon we made up for this story. It doesn't exist. So you know why you reacted the way you did? It's because your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Now, how can this help you? How can it help us in our daily lives? If you really take the time and effort to change your view of reality, your brain will put in the time and effort to make your reality become your view. And so it is with challenging your perceptions and changing your perceptions. You won't have to imagine lemons every time you want to substitute a belief. But this exercise should help you to see just how powerful your imagination can be. Perception. The difference between thought and perception is that thought is form created in the mind rather than the forms perceived through the five senses. An instance of thinking, if you like. While perception is organisation, identification and interpretation of sensory information. Have a look at this image on screen. Is the world really as you see it? Do you see a lovely young lady or a shriveled old woman? The ear of the young lady is the eye of the old woman. This reversible figure shows how we can be given subtle clues which influence what we see. We tend to believe that our perception or experience of the world is reliable. Seeing is believing, as they say. But we may not be the objective observers we think we are. Our perceptions reflect our needs, expectations, attitudes, values and beliefs. We see what we believe. Research shows that rather than passively recording details, we actively process incoming stimulation, focusing on some aspects while ignoring others. And so it is with your beliefs and your thoughts. The universal nature of the perception cycle. This is the part I've been looking forward to presenting. What follows is a short video that explains how the perception cycle works. The perception we have about anything creates the thoughts that we have about it. Those thoughts internalize and create our emotional feelings. Those emotions lead to our views, which in turn lead to the actions that we take. The actions we take generate the results of our perceptions. So, if you are unhappy with the results you are getting with a person or set of circumstances, try looking at your perceptions. See things from other angles, from the other person's viewpoint. Change the perception, and all the way around the cycle you end up changing the results. We can transpose new, more constructive beliefs for old, outdated, non-serving beliefs in any area. Whether the subject is happiness, authenticity, your needs, beliefs, values, your level of self-esteem, your roles, awareness, appreciation, acceptance, or your beliefs about any subject, event or person, whatever you choose to think about, you can substitute a negative belief or thought for a more positive, constructive one and create a different cycle of events and arrive at happier results. Test it for yourself. Feel the positive emotional energy from replacing a destructive belief with a more positive one. From all the research into the science of happiness, my most significant discovery was that the perceptions or beliefs that we allow to reside in our minds have the most dramatic effect on whether or not we are happy or unhappy. Whether the subject is a person, an event, or a set of circumstances, the degree of happiness or unhappiness we experience depends largely upon the belief or perception we have formed about that subject. If I were asked, what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned from all of your research into the science of happiness that you've applied successfully with multiple positive outcomes? The answer, without doubt, is the perception cycle. As I prepared the material for this course, it became abundantly clear that this simple but transformative thought process was relevant to every aspect of happiness. The perception we have about anything creates the thoughts that we have about it. Those thoughts internalize and create our emotional feelings. Those emotions lead to our views, which in turn lead to the actions that we take. The actions we take generate the results of our perceptions. So, if you are unhappy with the results you are getting with a person or set of circumstances, try looking at your perceptions. See things from other angles, from the other person's viewpoint. Change the perception, and all the way around the cycle you end up changing the results. Provided you do not hang on to unreasonable, biased or unrealistic perceptions, you can change your perceptions and achieve happier outcomes. The perception cycle will help you to challenge your beliefs on any subject by analysing your results to date in that area, both positive and otherwise. The perceptions or beliefs we have about absolutely everything can affect our happiness positively or negatively, dependent upon whether our chosen perception is the one that best serves us in any given situation. At the end of each session of this course, I would invite you to consider your perceptions about the subject matter that you've digested, to determine if you are clinging to perceptions and preconceptions and beliefs about that subject that are potentially obstructing your happiness. Stress, misunderstanding and conflict often occur when our perceptions are inconsistent with the way in which we are perceived by others. Having the courage to explore these differences enables us to reassess our point of view. Research shows us that we hold onto our perceptions tenaciously, even in the face of contradictory evidence. We will be more likely to alter our perception of the contrary evidence than our own opinions. What's called for is a greater sense of awareness and acceptance of alternative perceptions out there. We often go through a process of denial, refusing to question our perception of ourselves and our world, even when faced with overwhelming evidence to the contrary. For this reason, the first step in self-improvement is to question and change irrational thoughts and limiting beliefs, as has been described in previous sessions. Sessions that follow will provide further assistance in specific areas that are known to be successful in the transformation of thought and belief. The attitude factor. Our attitude controls our life, experience, and our ultimate destiny. We unlock our true potential by understanding and controlling our thought processes. 85% of the factors that contribute to our results relate to attitude, and only 15% of the factors that contribute to our results relate to skills and knowledge. Let's talk a little bit about thought vibrations. Every thought that you send out is a vibration which never perishes. It goes on vibrating every particle of the universe, and if your thoughts are noble and forcible, they'll set in vibration every sympathetic mind. As humans, we are transmitters and receivers of thought energy. Unconsciously, all people who are like you take the thought that you've projected, and in accordance with the capacity that they have, they send out similar thoughts. The result is that without your knowledge of the consequences of your own work, you will be setting in motion great forces which will work together and put down the lowly and mean thoughts of others, generated by the selfish and the wicked. The way you think. Everything that happens to you, everything you become and accomplish, is determined by the way you think, by the way you use your mind. As you begin changing your mind, you begin changing your life. But how did you get to where you are today? What formative influences have combined to make you the person that you are right now? Why do you think and feel the way you do? And what are the factors that have brought you to your current situation? In this session, you'll learn about how you have been put on a form of autopilot, starting from an early age. You'll learn how to begin taking control of your internal guidance system and how to remove influences and obstacles that have been interfering with your happiness without your even knowing about it. You'll learn how to alter your mind to make it more consistent with the results that you want. Thought is the architect of destiny. If the mind dwells continually upon one train of thought, a groove is formed in the brain, along which the thought force runs automatically, and such a habit of thought survives even death. And the more you think that same thought over and over, the deeper the groove becomes. Every thought, it must be remembered, has got its own mental image. The essence of the various mental images formed in one particular physical life is being worked out in the mental plane. Not so easy is the act of explaining the detailed workings of thought and destiny. Each thought is a link in an endless chain of causes and effects, each effect becoming a cause, and each cause having been an effect. And each link in the endless chain is welded out of three components: desire, thought, and activity. A desire stimulates a thought. A thought embodies itself as an act. Act constitutes the web of destiny for you. Unselfish loving and every thought of compassion helps to build the strongest framework of thought imaginable. You sow an action and you reap a habit. A habit sown results in character. You sow a character and you reap a destiny. Man is the master of his own destiny. You make yourself by the power of your thought, your destiny. You can undo it if you want, if you like. All faculties, energies and powers are latent in you. Unfold them and become free and great. Your thoughts chisel your outward appearance. Your face is like a gramophone record or a freshly created compact disc, for those of you who remember what is now old technology. Whatever you think is at once written on your face. Every unpleasant thought serves as a chisel or needle to sculpt the thoughts on your face. Faces are covered with the scars and wounds which are made by thoughts of hatred, anger, lust, jealousy, revenge, etc. The man who thinks that he can hide his thoughts is fooling himself. The face is the contents page of the mind. Every thought cuts a groove in the face. A loving thought brightens the face. An evil thought darkens it. Continued unpleasant thought increases the depth of darkness of the impressions. The facial expression truly advertises the inner state and the true contents of the mind. Look out for it in the faces of others on your travels. I make a point of looking at people's faces when I'm wandering around a supermarket to see the lines in their faces and the character. With practice, it's not difficult to see a troubled or happy life written in the etched lines and shadows of people's faces. The face is like an advertising hoarding, displaying what is going on inside the mind. Your thoughts, sentiments, states and emotions produce their strong impressions on the face. In your face, you can hardly hide your thoughts. You may wrongly think that you have kept up your thoughts in secret. The thoughts of lust, greed, jealousy, anger, revenge, hatred at once produce their deep impressions on your face. The face is a faithful recorder and sensitive registering apparatus to register and record all the thoughts that are in your mind. The face is a polished mirror to indicate the nature of the mind and its contents at a particular time. Thoughts feature the physical expressions. Our mind is the subtle form of our physical body. The physical body is the outward manifestation of the thoughts. So when the mind is twisted, the body becomes twisted too. The mind very conspicuously reflects on the face its various states, which a person of intelligence can easily read. The body follows the mind. If the mind thinks of falling from a height, the body prepares itself immediately and shows external signs of fear, anxiety, grief, or in other circumstances, cheerfulness, hilarity, anger, all produce their various impressions upon the face. Your eyes betray your thoughts. They say the eyes are the windows of the soul, and as such they cannot conceal the condition and state of your mind. There is a telegraphic instrument in the eyes that transmits messages or thoughts of treachery, depression, gloom, hatred, cheerfulness, peace, harmony, health, power, strength, beauty, and of course, love. If you read the eyes of others, you can almost read the mind at the same time. You can read the uppermost thought or dominant thought of a person if you are careful to mark the signs in their face. All it needs is a little knowledge, training, intelligence and experience. Negative thoughts poison life. Thoughts of worry and thoughts of fear are fearful forces within us. They poison the very sources of life and destroy the harmony, the running efficiency and vitality and vigour. The opposing thoughts of cheerfulness, joy and courage heal and soothe instead of irritating, and immensely enhance the efficiency and multiply the mental powers. Be always cheerful, smile often, laugh a lot. Thoughts are living things. While light travels at the rate of 186,282 miles per second, thoughts virtually travel in no time at all. Thoughts are living things. A thought is every bit as solid as a piece of stone. We may cease to be, but our thoughts never die. Every change in thought is accompanied by mental vibration of its matter. Every thought that you send out is a vibration which never perishes. It goes on vibrating every particle of the universe, setting in vibration every sympathetic mind that can receive it. Unconsciously, all people who are like you take the thought that you've projected, and in accordance with the capacity that they might have, they send out similar thoughts. Thoughts are like giant power transmitters and receivers. They are more powerful than electricity. They control your life, they mould your character, and they shape your destiny. Thought exerts its influence over the body. Grief in the mind weakens the body. The body also influences the mind. A healthy body makes the mind healthy. If the body is sick, the mind becomes sick also. If the body is strong and healthy, the mind becomes healthy and strong. Violent fits of hot temper do serious damage to the brain cells, throwing poisonous chemicals into the blood, producing general shock and depression, and suppress the secretion of gastric juice, bile and other digestive juices in the bodily system, draining away your energy, vitality, inducing premature old age and shortening our lives. When you're angry, the mind becomes disturbed. Similarly, when the mind is disturbed, the body also becomes disturbed. The whole nervous system is agitated. You can most easily control anger by the expression of love. Thought creates the world. Thought brings things into existence. Thoughts develop the desires and excite the passions. So the contrary thoughts of killing the desires and passions will counteract the former idea of satisfying them. So when a person is impressed with this, a contrary thought will help him to destroy his desires and passions. Think of a person as a good friend of yours, and there the thing is created as a reality. Think of him as your enemy, then also the mind perfects the thought into actuality. He who knows the workings of the mind and has controlled it by practice is truly happy. Similar thoughts attract. In the world of thought, the great law, like attracts like, operates. People of similar thoughts are attracted towards each other. Birds of the feather flock together, as they say. A man is known by the company he keeps, is another expression. The mind has phenomenal drawing power. You are continually attracting towards you from both the seen and the unseen sides of life. People, forces, thoughts, influences and conditions most in tune to those of your own thoughts. In the realm of thought, people of similar thoughts are attracted to one another. This universal law is continually operating, whether we're conscious of it or not. Understand the laws of thought. Every man should have a comprehensive understanding of the laws of thought and their operations. We can utilize the helping forces to serve our ends in the best possible manner. We can neutralize hostile forces or antagonistic situations. Just as the fish swims against the current, so also will we be able to go against the hostile currents by adjusting ourselves properly and safeguarding ourselves with suitable precautionary methods. The alternative is that man becomes a slave to his thoughts. He is tossed about helplessly by various currents. He is like driftwood on a river, a ship without a rudder. He may even be miserable and unhappy, although he may be wealthy and possess everything. Understanding the laws of thought, you can mould or shape your character in any way you like. As a man thinketh, so he becomes, is one of the great laws of thought that was drawn from a book by a man called James Allen at the turn of the last century. Think you are pure, and pure you will become. Think you are noble, and noble you will become. Become an embodiment of good nature. Think good of all. Always do good actions. Serve, love, give. Make others happy. Then you will reap happiness. You'll get favourable circumstances or opportunities and environments. If you hurt others, if you gossip, scandal or mischief monger, backbite, tell tales, if you exploit others, if you acquire the property of others by dishonest means, if you do any action that can give pain to others, you will reap pain ultimately. You will get unfavourable circumstances or opportunities and environments. This is the law of thought and nature. Just as you can build your good or bad character by good or bad thoughts, so also you can shape your favourable or unfavourable circumstances by doing good or bad actions and things. By his good thinking, by watching the nature of his thoughts, by introspection, by active noble thinking, a man of discrimination builds his noble character, forms his high destiny. He is careful in his choice of words. He speaks little. He speaks sweet, loving words. He never utters any kind of harsh words that can affect the feelings of others and hurt them. He develops patience, mercy, and universal love, and he speaks the truth wherever he can. He prepares himself to always get favourable circumstances. The man who spreads happiness will always get such favourable circumstances as can bring him happiness. He who spreads pain to others will, without doubt, attract by the law of thought unfavourable circumstances that may include misery and pain. Man creates his own character and circumstances by the manner of his own thinking. Bad character can be transformed into a good one by good thoughts, and unfavourable circumstances can be changed into favourable circumstances by doing good actions and things. improve the quality of your thinking. Human beings are mental organisms. Everything we are or ever will be as the direct result of the way we think. If we improve the quality of our thinking, we must improve the quality of our lives. And there is no other way to do it. In tests given to children aged 2 to 4 years, 95% of the children were found to be highly creative with curious, questioning minds and an ability for abstract thought. Sadly, when those very same children were tested again at the age of 7, only 5% still demonstrated the high levels of creativity they'd shown previously. In the years in between, they'd been taught to conform, conditioned by repetitive mental programming, sitting in rows in a classroom. Children are taught to colour between the lines, sit in the neat little rows like soldiers, to do and say what the other children did and said, and to do as they were told. Over time, their creativity was suppressed and they lose the wonderful, fearless spontaneity of youth, and they learn to suppress ideas and insights that are unusual or different. Most of us have experienced something similar. Fortunately, the human race is creative. Creativity is your birthright, and you can tap into it at any time, no matter how long it has been since you last really used it. What you think upon grows. Whatever you allow to occupy in your mind will be magnified in your life, whether the subject of your thoughts is good or bad. The law works without judgment. Any subject that you release from your thoughts tends to diminish in your life, because what you do not use withers. The more you think about your poor health, the worse it will become. The more you think of yourself as healthy and well, the better your body will be. The more you think about lack, debt and turmoil, the worse your situation will become. The more you think of prosperity, abundance and success, the more of these things will be attracted to you and into your life. The more you think about your complaints, grievances or injustices, the more similar turmoil you will receive. The more you think of the good fortune that you've had, the more good fortune will come to you. We'll conclude this session with an old parable, so relevant to perception and thought. It seems that there was a female eagle that fell from her nest at a very young age. She wandered into a chicken yard where an older hen adopted her and raised her. The chickens taught the eagle the way of chickens. She learned to dig holes and wiggle down into them on hot days so as to stay cool. She learned to scratch with her talons and soon became treasured for her ability to scratch deep into the earth. She learned many things from the chickens, and despite her size, became loved by them all. She was secure in her chicken house, surrounded by her friends and adopted mother. Still, she sometimes felt out of place, uneasy in ways she couldn't explain, unfulfilled and unnatural. Her friends would reassure her. They would let her know things like other chickens didn't always lay an abundance of eggs, and why hens made so much noise when they did lay an egg. She would confide in her closest friends, and most would reassure her that this was life and she would adjust to it in time. She needed only to try harder. After all, Her maternal mother had failed her. This was comforting, for it wasn't her fault. Her maternal mother was to blame. So her potential, the possibilities in life, went altogether unknown until one day a male eagle flying overhead spotted her in the chicken yard. She is such a grand eagle, he thought. So he began to descend to speak to her. But one of the chickens caught a glimpse of the shadow and called to all the other chickens. The female eagle, who we shall call Nina, together with the chickens, quickly scurried back to the chicken house, where they hid the rest of the afternoon. The male eagle was confused, but determined. Days passed before he gained his opportunity. Darting out of the sky with the sun in his face, he cut off Nina's retreat almost before any in the yard were aware that he was approaching. All of the chickens hid in the chicken house. Not one dared to venture out to even see what might be happening to Nina. Nina crouched down in fear, almost paralysed by her expectation. "Why are you here?" the male eagle asked. Unable to answer, Nina could only tremble and look down. "What are you doing here?" he went on. "I've never seen an eagle nesting with chickens. Have you lost your mind, girl?" Nina looked up. She suddenly had an idea, for she was a smart chicken. "Did you call me an eagle?" she meekly inquired. "Of course, you are one. Have you not looked at yourself? Have you not felt the urge to stretch your wings and soar? Have you not felt out of place with these chickens? Do you think those talons were made to dig in the earth? I have watched you for days now. You do everything the chickens do. Why?" Nina now stared into the eyes of the male eagle. They were large and brown. His pupils were dark black and nearly filled his entire eye. He looked as though he could see forever. "You've watched me?" Nina added. "Yes, girl, I've watched you, but I don't understand. You are capable of so much. I could tell you stories for days of adventures and sights that have filled my life that should fill yours too. You were created with such an unlimited potential. You simply don't belong in this yard for a day. You are a beautiful and capable eagle. Can't you see that? Don't you believe me? Have you spent your entire life here?" Nina felt stronger now. Something was wrong with this eagle. Imagine him telling her she could soar. Nina spoke. "So, I'm an eagle, and I can soar and do things you can show me that I've never done. Is that right?" "It's in you, girl. Follow your feelings. Be natural. You're not a chicken, I promise." "So then," Nina continued, "since I'm an eagle, you're not going to hurt me." "Of course not. What nonsense is that?" "Well then," Nina confidently said, "show me. Step aside so I could leave if I chose to." And with that, the male eagle stepped back and out of Nina's path. She seized the opportunity and made the best of her plan, running straight for the chicken house. Once inside, she told the chickens how she had outsmarted that dumb old eagle. They all laughed and rewarded her with their chicken appreciation. "You're such a good smart chicken, Nina," the old Rooster Chicken even spoke nicely to Nina. "I'm proud of you, Nina. You certainly did outsmart that eagle." By now, the moral to this story is obvious. Most of us have been conditioned to accept and believe certain things that may and likely do betray our real potential. Like chickens in the chicken yard, we've all been conditioned and programmed. But as you have learned, nothing is irreversible. Behavioural scientists use this term to refer to the process whereby animals seek to be accepted by imitating their peers. A duckling raised in a chicken yard will behave like a chicken, and so forth. The advantage this story provides gives rise to the question, how many chicken beliefs are limiting you right now? Whatever you believe with emotion becomes your reality. Take charge of your beliefs, and you'll take charge of your circumstances and your life thereafter. To conclude this session, there's a short exercise regarding perception. The perception that we have about a person or event feed the thoughts that we have about them or it. The thoughts that we have create the emotions in our mind. The emotions are powerful. Left unchecked, they forge our views of the person, the event or the circumstances. Our views invariably lead to the action that we take, with positive or negative consequences. The action we take creates results that are either positive or negative. Think of a person or event that is causing you stress or anxiety. With empathy and sympathy, try replacing the perception that you currently have with an alternative. Put yourself in the other person's shoes for a while to recreate their view of things. You can also do this to affirm that your perception is in fact correct. If you're unhappy with the results that you're getting, change your perceptions at the beginning and watch the results change with it. That brings this session about perception and thoughts to a close. I hope that you found it useful and interesting and enjoyable. And coming up in the next session, feelings and emotions. Understand how your feelings and emotions colour the thoughts that you have, affecting the decisions that you make and the outcomes that you achieve. Discover how to use your emotions to generate energy and improve the quality and quantity of happiness that you attract into your life. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next session.